For the next minority, we have Deputy Minority Leader B.H. Herrera.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Magandang umaga po sa DOTr Family Secretary at our Executive Stella Kimbo. Sa inyo po lahat, good morning. Well, I'll just go straight to the point dahil marami pong nakapila. Manila is ranked number 5th among the worst public transport sectors. Medyo masakit po yun para sa atin, but we notice it every day. And while nakita ko ang laki ng increase ng DOTr budget, it also says that 85% of DOTr's program is devoted to the railway transport program. So ang laki ng increase natin doon. But my number one worry is dun sa railway transport program natin, dito rin yung pinakamababang disbursement rate natin. So, how do we intend to do this? Nag-privilege speech po ako. Yung South Long Haul natin has a 0 disbursement rate up to this very point. At ito rin yung malaking budget na sinet aside natin. Ano pong balak natin dito? I'd like an answer to this because I delivered my privilege speech. I don't know if DOTr is aware of it. Na walang nangyayari 5 years na. Ano po bang balak ng DOTr dito? And yet we set aside a big amount of funding again for this.
Secretary.
Yusek Chavez po will answer the question.
Madam Chair,
May we request everyone to observe silence? Thank you very much. Yusek.
Madam Chair, context. Number one, the South Long Haul is Calamba to Daraga Albay. That's about 368 kilometers. The government has a existing contract with China Railway Design Corporation for a project management consultancy or PMC in the amount of 14 billion. But there's no contract and loan approved or granted to the Philippine government from the China. The China Railway Design Corporation is a Chinese funded project, and the China and the construction previously awarded by the previous administration sometime in February 2022 in the amount of 142 billion, but there was no loan approved, granted by the China Exempt Bank, and therefore there is no civil works contract. Number two, the Office of the Secretary has given us a guidance on the way forward. It has been notified, we have notified the other government agencies because DOTr is only an implementing agency. Any change in the character of the loan, continue or otherwise, have to be approved by the NEDA. And the lead here is not only NEDA, but the Department of Finance. And therefore, after a year and 2 months, even before this committee hearing, the Secretary has advised the team to meet with the China Exim Bank and to the Chinese Embassy to ask them, really, do you really want to give us a loan of 142 billion? Otherwise, without 142 billion, there is no civil works contract. There is a project management consultancy, 14 billion. We've spent almost 2 billion already, but there is no civil works contract. So that's the status. The way forward is that this administration, DOTr in particular, is doing its best to talk with the NEDA and the Department of Finance, because in this case, Department of Finance is the one that applied for the loan, negotiated for the loan, signed for the loan. As you are aware, Madam Chair, the previous Secretary of Finance withdrew the contract, the application for loan, because there was inaction by the Chinese Exim Bank, inaction. And immediately after the Marcos administration came in, Secretary Bautista repeatedly informed the Secretary of Finance and the NEDA and the other cabinet members, informing them on the way forward. We requested that the Department of Finance make another representation to the China Exim Bank, and it did. At one point, about 3 or 4 months ago, Yusek TJ and I and the former Undersecretary of Finance of DOF met with the Chinese embassy, the economic counselor, and informed them what's your definitive plan on the South Long Haul, and we were given no clear direction on this, and there is the status. Therefore, finally, our position is that by the end of December, the Department of Transportation will have to go back to NEDA to ask for a guidance whether to still a request for funding from the China Exim Bank or to terminate the private management consultancy, and also to withdraw the loan application, reapplication for the China Exim Bank. That's the status po.
Thank you, Madam Chair. But for the meantime, anong timetable natin? We set aside 3.1 billion dito. Kung wala tayong gagawin, sayang naman yung pera kung up in the air tayo dito.
Again, the context is, kailangan ba natin ang South Long Haul? Yes, kailangan natin ang South Long Haul. In all government projects, especially in the railway projects, the role of the land acquisition is always with the government. And therefore, ang direksyon ng DOTr po ay ituloy ang proyektong ito pending kung sino man ang magiging partner
Yes,
dito.
Yes, Madam Chair. Yes, of course, kailangan ituloy. Pero gaano kayo katagal maghihintay? Until when will we wait for this? Because 5 taon na po ito. Ano po ang timetable na tinitignan natin para alam din po namin dito sa committee kung ibibigay namin yung kailangan ninyo? Kasi kung di rin naman pending din naman, sayang ang pera.
My office recommended to the secretary to courses of actions in this case. If we cannot get a definitive reply from the foreign funding, we need to terminate the project management consultancy so that we can proceed with another options. The other option is that we can still negotiate. DOF together with NEDA and the entire economic team may still decide to proceed this with another foreign funding institutions, or we go with the PPP modality. PPP, we have defined it with the Office of the Secretary. We may go to JICA, we may go to Asian Development Bank, we may go to foreign partners for the electromechanical, and the rolling stock government will still be in charge of the right of way, the civil works with a private contractor. That's the way forward po.
Madam Chair, I will request that before plenary, may sagot tayong malinaw para lang makasubmit sila at sana madali ng DOTr ang pag-decision nito.
Yusek, and can you please submit the requirements by our Deputy Minority Leader B.H. Herrera?
Apo, we can submit my recommendation to the Secretary, a copy furnished with
And
this
please
committee po.
also copy furnish Committee on Appropriations.
Apo.
Yes. Next, Madam Chair, ang majority din dito sa 85% increases the payment to the, yung North-South Commuter Railway. Ano naman status ito? Is this ongoing? Is this on time? Maayos bang mga contractors ito? May problema po ba tayo? I'd like to know the situation of the North-South Commuter Railway.
North-South Commuter Railway project is composed of 3 projects: Manila to Malolos, that's N1; Malolos to Clark, that's N2; the South Commuter, that's South Commuter. As far as N1, Malolos to Clark, only 3 stations have not yet been awarded. That is Tutuban, Soles, and Caloocan. Otherwise, all the stations from Valenzuela to Clark ay tapos na po, ongoing construction. In fact, Balagtas Station, Malolos, and Giginto is between 60 to 84% civil works. All contracts po, rolling stock, bagon, electromechanical, relays, signaling, operations, power, automated fare collection system, okay na po siya. We're encountering some delays, and in fact, we have to acknowledge that in the some delays. But let me inform this committee that in the North-South Commuter Railway project, Manila to Malolos, that's about 18 hectares. We already acquired 16 hectares. The Malolos to Clark is about it's 52 kilometers, representing about 6 stations. The we're almost 60%. Sorry, almost 70% acquired already. Let me inform this committee that in the Manila to Clark, 75% of the land is owned by the government. 25% lang po ang private. And therefore, medyo hindi ho tayo masyadong nagkakaproblema ho dyan because 75% po ay PNR plus other government properties. Ngayon, baliktad po tayo sa south, that's Manila to Calamba. Manila to Calamba is about 56 kilometers, 19 stations. So, approved na ho po at napirma na ho ang lahat ng kontrata dito. Dito ho, 49% ng lupa ay gobyerno lang po at yung 51% is private. Pero ang ginawa po natin dito sa methodology ng construction, doon tayo mismo po sa gitna ng PNR property, gagawa ng istasyon at gagawa ng riles para yung problema ho natin sa right-of-way, relocation of utilities, relocation of ISF, including the land acquisition ho sa labas ng PNR property, hindi ho tayo masyadong problema. So, tsaka malalaki po ang kausap po natin sa right-of-way sa private sector sapagkat ito po yung Maynilad, Meralco, and therefore, bultuhan po ang usapan sa right-of-way po dito.
Madam Chair, marami nagrereklamo sa tabi ko eh. Kasi yung disbursement rate nyo dito is 29.3% eh. So, pasubmit na lang po because hindi nagtatali doon sa nangyayari sa ground, doon sa report ng DOTr. So, may we please get a copy of the performance when it comes to that kasi medyo mubulong po yung mga katabi ko dito. Madam Chair. My next question, Madam Chair, dun sa railways and other kamusta ang accessibility to PWDs? Kasi ang daming complaint dito that most of our MRT stations, hindi, yung LRT natin, yung PNR natin, very poor daw ang ating accessibility to PWDs. Is this true as reported by several PWD organizations?
We would like to humbly acknowledge that the report of Rappler is correct. But in the new projects, North-South Railway Commuter Project ho, pati sa subway, embedded na po yung mga reforms na dapat gawin. Remember that the Line 1 was established sometime in 1981, completed in 1983, started operations in 1984. Ganon din po yung ibang istasyon, started in 1997, naging operational 2000. Noon ay hindi pa ho masyadong tumitingkad yung accessibility issue. But let me assure this committee that what is lacking in the design of Line 1 po, MRT3 and LRT Line 2 is now addressed in the detailed engineering design of Manila to Clark and Manila to Calamba and Metro Manila subway po.
Please
To everyone, may we request again your silence? Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Sa ating mga kaibigan sa Executive Department, ang DOTr family, our dear colleagues, magandang umaga po sa inyo lahat. Didiretsoy ko na agad si Secretary, kung po pwede, Secretary, o kaya any of the undersecretaries. There were reports, Secretary, that DOTr is planning to transfer ownership of the assets of MRT3 to LRTA. Bakit po? Ano kaya ang dahilan? Is DOTr not efficiently managing MRT3? O baliktarin natin, is LRTA capable of managing MRT3 when it was already Line 1 and Line 2? Thank you, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair, if I may. LRTA, LRT Line 1 and LRT Line 2, they are operating rail lines under the LRTA, Light Rail Transit Authority. There is a governing board, there is a NEDA representative, the secretaries of NEDA, Finance, DPWH, MMDA, private sector, LTFRB, members of the board. In PNR, still operated by PNR with a PNR board, also has a member of DOF, NEDA, private sector, Office of the President, Department of Budget and Management. On the other hand, MRT3 is maybe at the caprice and whims of the undersecretary or assistant secretary or the general manager or the secretary because there is no board. It is our intention, Madam Chair, that MRT3's assets be transferred, management be transferred to the LRTA so that it is given the benefits of the board similar to LRTA and PNR po. Yun po ang intention niyan. Is MRT3 under the DOTr capable of managing it? Opo. Is LRTA capable of managing additional line like MRT3? Opo. Pero ang tingin po namin, mas magiging panatag ang bayan kapag may board sa MRT3. Lalong-lalo na po, patapos na ho ang build list transfer ng MRT3 sa Sobre Peña Group by 2025 and therefore, mas mabuti hong nasa loob na po siya ng authority na mayroong board para nakakasama na agad ang DOF, ang Office of the President, ang Department of Budget and Management, private sector in the discussion on the way forward of MRT3.
Salamat po sa napakagandang sagot, Secretary. Yusek, Chavez. Pangalawang tanong ko po regarding MRT7 naman. MRT7's last station, ang pagkaalam ko dito sa dulo ng San Jose del Monte City sa under ng aning Congresswoman Rida Robes. At makikinabang din po ako because my district adjacent po itong Norsagaray at Santa Maria. Ang pagkalam ko, nag-groundbreaking ito sa Memorial Circle, sa Quezon City Memorial Circle noong pang April 2016. At alam ko rin na there are two components here of MRT7, yung railway component at saka road component. Interesado kasi ako sa dalawa eh. But unahin ko na lang yung roads, po. Yung road component is 23 kilometers and the railway is 22 kilometers. Yung railway component ay sa North Avenue between East M and Trinoma to San Jose del Monte. Ang road component is from San Jose del Monte City to NLEX, doon po sa Balagtas, section dito sa NLEX. The alignment of road component is started. Ito yung original assignment, kaya interesado po ako rito kasi dadaan sa bayan ko ito eh. The road component started in San Jose del Monte City, passing to Santa Maria, my hometown, then Bukawi, and ending in NLEX, yung Balagtas section. What happened to this alignment, Secretary, which is 23 kilometers in length? Nag-start na ba ho kayo mag-acquire ng right of way po dito? Sa tingin ko po kasi nababagalan po ako sa pag-usad ng MRT7.
Madam Chair, it is true that under the PPP arrangement between DOTr, then DOTC, now DOTr, and San Miguel Corporation, the developer of MRT7, it's about 23 kilometers, 17 stations from North Avenue to San Jose del Monte. It is true po that Del Monte to Balagtas, there's a road component po about 23, 22, 20 kilometers. So it is true po na dadaan po ng Santa Maria, Bulacan. In our meeting, in the last project management meeting with MRT7, we reiterated to them their obligation that the road component, the highway component be expedited and based on the timeline given. So hindi ho bumibitaw ang DOTr po doon sa pagtutok at nagkakaroon lang po ng delays sa implementations ng RILES from Manila to Del Monte. Pero ang commitment na binigay po ng San Miguel Corporation ay itutuloy. In fact, the right of way, the alignment has already been presented, and
Tuloy po ba itong alignment nito, the original alignment? Kasi may alignment po kayo kasi wala pa rin nag-acquire na nababalitaan ko up to now. Kung dadaan po sa amin sa yung alignment na this is the old alignment. Ito rin ba masusunod na alignment?
ang pagkakalam po, sa meeting po namin, yun din pa rin po ang commitment nila. At ang pagkakaiba ho ng MRT7, the land acquisition is by the private sector. Magbabayad na lang po ang gobyerno pagkatapos. So sila po ang lead. Unlike other railway projects, so gobyerno DOTr ang land acquisition. In this case po, sila ho ang nanguna with the assistance ng Department of Transportation. And it is the responsibility pa rin ho ng Department of Transportation. We would like to assure this committee, Madam Chair, that San Miguel Corporation, the developer of MRT-7, has committed that the old alignment and that the land acquisition po will be expedited. Naiinip na rin po kami because this is part of, there's no MRT-7 kung wala hong highway component ho. So, obligasyon po nila yan sa DOTr. Ang hinihiling po namin sa kanila, by 2025, there should be substantial construction already nung lugar na yun po.
Nainip na din po kami kasi alam po nyo, napaka-traffic ngayon ng Santa Maria, kung alam no, Norsagaray. Kasi nandun po yung Philippine Arena at saka yung new international airport ginagawa na. Kaya kailangan siguro ma-expedite ito. Ilang percent na ba ito?
Mayroon na po silang ongoing, yung alignment po, tapos na po siya. May ongoing na po silang right-of-way acquisition. Nagsisimula po sila sa San Jose del Monte, kung saan yung last
Ilang
station
percent na po? Alam ko na PPP project kasi for your information, ako rin po principal author, isa sa principal author ng PPP, which is certified urgent by the President, nasa Senate na. At sana mapunta na sa Pangulo kasi kailangan natin itong PPP. At ilan po ang accomplishment na ng sa MRT-7 dito?
Madam Chair, if I may I
Go ahead.
suggest to recognize the Assistant Secretary for Rails, who is the project manager of MRT-7, Assistant Secretary Jet Aquino po, to specifically reply.
Sec. Go ahead.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Regarding the completion or percentage progress on the road component for the MRT-7, currently we are at 0.18%. Total affected lots for the road component is around 1,083, and 14 have been issued offer to buy. Thank you po.
Okay, thank you. During po sa budget, nung hearing last year, we discussed MRT Line 7 project, and I requested that San Jose Station be extended to Norsagaray. Nakausap ko si Secretary dito ilang beses na eh. At ako, siyempre, Norsagaray is a part of my district. Masaya po kami at ang ating kasamang distrito at ang buong lalawigan ng Bulacan. Dahil sa agad-agad po na sinagutan tayo ni Secretary sa magandang suggestion at isasama na sa plano ang nasabing MRT station. I would just like to know what were the steps taken to include Norsagaray in the said plan. Have we conducted a feasibility study on said inclusion, Mr. Secretary? Sabi mo, Secretary, may loan na darating na $6 million. Saan po ginamit itong $6 million? Hindi ba nakasama kami sa feasibility studies dito?
Through the chair po. Madam Chair, currently po yung MRT-7 hanggang San Jose del Monte, Bulacan lang. And what is being referred po to is yung possibility po of a further extension north to Norsagaray. Meron po tayong kasama na feasibility study budget dito po sa ating hinihinging budget para po sa 2024. At meron din po tayong budget na manggagaling or babangga po doon sa project preparation loan po natin from the Asian Development Bank, at dyan po natin kukunin yun pong pondo para po pag-aralan itong posibilidad po na magkaroon ng further extension po panorte, Panorzagaray po ng MRT-7. Thank you po, Mr. Chair.
Thank you for hearing that. Salamat po, Secretary. At
Madam Chair, one of those affected by this slow disbursement is the construction of the subway. And under contract package 101, with 3 stations and 1 depot, the total accomplishment as of today is only 10%. Can you cite to us some reasons why there is a tremendous delay in the implementation of the subway?
Madam Chair, may I reply? to declare.
Yusik Chavez, you're recognized.
CP 101 covers 4 stations. That
Four
is
stations, yeah.
4 stations, about 6.8 kilometers. This involves the station in East Valenzuela, Tandang Quirino, Tandang Sora, and North Avenue. This is a different contract compared to packages 101, 102 to 109. 102 civil works up to 109. It's a built contract. This one is designed and built. There were several events that happened. Why the low disbursement? One, the availability of right of way. Madam Chair, right of way is the number 1 issue, but corollary to the right of way is the design design issue. You are aware of that, Madam Chair, Your Honor. If there is a change in the detailed engineering design, therefore sometimes and most logically there's going to be a change in the alignment, parcellery, etc., etc. There are only 3 important right-of-way issues in package 101, especially in the East Valenzuela, but they determine the large portion of the budget. But let me inform this honorable committee. It takes sometimes a year and 1.5 years for the court to decide on the expropriation. And we can cite many reasons for that, but expro is taking us quite some time. And because of that, Madam Chair, we have been meeting with the Office of Solicitor General. We have been meeting with the local government units. We have been meeting with different government agencies. We met several times the head of the OSG and his office, the senior technical officials, the technical level. We went even to the palace to meet with them to expedite the expropriations. OSG is also facing a problem in the sense that there is also a fast turnover of lawyers there. When the lawyers are resigned and replaced, and it takes 6 months, sir, sometimes 8 months before the filing of expropriation cases. So the issue, sir, of the utilization is because of right of way. But we are catching, sir. In fact, it has been acknowledged by JICA, by the Japan International Cooperation Agency. It has been here and in Tokyo. It has been acknowledged by the contractors that under this administration, we expedited, we delivered substantial amount to the joint venture. I am not too sure if the 10% is the current disbursement, but in our book, it must be higher than that, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Madam Chair. How deep is the deepest tunnel?
We have 37 below the ground. We have 25, we have 27, we have 19 below the ground.
So you are paying all this right of way below the ground?
We are paying 20%
20% of the
fair market value.
fair market value.
Affected
Mm.
underground po.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
For the majority, we have Representative Jaime Fresnetti.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good afternoon, and good afternoon, DOTr family. For 2024 budget, you have allocated 76.34 billion for the North-South Commuter Railway. And out of this 76.34 billion, you have allocated 53.26 billion for the procurement of right of way. Is this right, Madam Chair?
Madam Chair, the GOP counterpart that is 53.255 billion is a combination of right-of-way acquisition and the settlement of taxes for the civil works contracts. So not solely for right-of-way, Madam Chair, but it includes right-of-way.
Madam Chair, I noticed that out of this budget of 76.34 billion, you have not allocated an amount for the acquisition of the relocation sites for those to be affected by this development. Tama po ba yun?
Madam Chair, for the line item, we usually refer to it as a right-of-way and site acquisition. So that includes as well those who will be relocated and the necessary cost.
May we know, Madam Chair, the status of the acquisition of the relocation sites for the area covered by this development, Madam Chair?
Yusek Chavez.
20 out of 29 relocation sites are in city. Calamba in city, Cabuyao in city, Binian in city, Santa Cruz, Santa Rosa in city, San Pedro in city, Caloocan, not Caloocan, have been identified and approved by local by the LIAC po, by the LIAC, and we already downloaded the amount to Socialized Housing Finance Corporation. For the Manila to Malolos to Clark, it's with National Housing Authority. For the Manila to Calamba, the downloading of amount is with Socialized Housing Finance Corporation. The relocation site for Calamba is being constructed already. The acquisition po by the Socialized Housing Finance Corporation for those other cities have been identified already, approved in the LIAC. I was told that Muntinlupa is out of Muntinlupa.
May we know an update about relocation site for the city of Muntinlupa residents, Madam Chair?
The Socialized Housing Finance Corporation have identified a relocation site in Cavite po. In Cavite for Muntinlupa. There is an ongoing negotiation with the PISAM property somewhere in Sucat. We're about to procure it po. That's another site po, but there's no definitive as far as we are concerned ho. The template and the default is with Cavite po.
Well, Madam Chair, I just talked to the people in, I would say, a member of the SLIA, and I was told that this morning only, I was told that regarding the property cited in Cavite, lately there was no more discussion on the property in Cavite, but there was a property in city of San Pedro, and this is the latest discussions about the relocation site. But as far as the residents are concerned, and even some even the people from the local government, I think they were not updated on this development because as per information, the plan is for a private developer to acquire the property and let the private developer develop and sell these units to the affected beneficiaries, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair, we commit to give the details to the Honorable Representative from Muntinlupa. We had a meeting with the mayor of Muntinlupa about 3 or 4 months ago. with all the department heads po. But I think the latest is your discussion po with your LIAC. But as far as about 3-4 months ago, we met personally. I went to Muntinlupa po, met with your department heads, including the LIAC. Our presentation there po is for Cavite, but I have to go back on the San Pedro site being
I think San Pedro on the latest discussion, no more the property in Cavite, no? And I think please take note of the amortization rate because the reason why these people are living in the area, they could not afford to pay for rental, no? Please consider the status of the people to be affected by this relocation, Madam Chair.
You said please also copy furnish the Committee on Appropriations with the said documents.
we will duly comply.
Thank
po.
you.
We will also make representation again with the Socialized Housing Finance Corporation, who is the lead agency po in the relocation po.
Thank you, Yusek.
For the minority, next we have is Deputy Minority Leader Franz Castro.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Magandang hapon po sa pamilya ng DOTr. So, Madam Chair, meron po kasi akong question kay Secretary. So, wala siya. Madam Chair, pababalikin ba natin ang DOTr? Kasi may mga policy question ako. That is supposed to be answered by the Secretary himself.
Honorable Castro, unfortunately, the good secretary has been excused from the briefing already because he is joining the president for a trip this afternoon. But in behalf of him, he placed Undersecretary Yebra and Yusek Kim Robert De Leon as his representative.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So, anyway, meron pa naman sigurong, Madam Chair, another briefing for the DOTr.
I'm not sure of another briefing for the DOTr, but the next session, the next briefing or the next time we will tackle the budget of the DOTr, Honorable Castro is already on the plenary, which is I think 2 weeks from now.
Okay. So, thank you for the clarification, Madam Chair. So, siguro ang general na question ko sa DOTr ay so naniniwala, katulad sa education, merong education crisis. So ang DOTr ba naniniwala na merong transportation crisis? Who can answer that, Madam Chair?
Please respond to the question of the Honorable Castro. Anyone from DOTr?
Madam Chair, I guess it was referred to kanina that in certain indices and in certain rankings, we rank very low. So if that would be the basis, then perhaps that can be said for Madam Chair.
In terms of budget, so sinasabi niyo ba na we have transport crisis because of the low budget and utilization? Ang tinatanong ko, naniniwala ba ang DOTr na meron tayong transport crisis? Kagaya na sa education, meron tayong learning crisis, education crisis. So, anong tingin nyo?
Madam Chair, we have severely underinvested in transport infrastructure in the last 3 decades. For example po, ang average po na investment natin in infrastructure for the last 3 decades has only been at between 1.5 to 2%. The current administration po is targeting to bring that up to 5 to 6%. And ito pong catch-up investment po na ito is precisely intended in order po to close that transport infrastructure gap that we are currently facing po, Madam Chair.
So, are you saying yung mga infrastructure project na mga roads, yung mga bridges, yung mga rails, etc., yun po ba yun, Madam Chair, Yusek?
Yes po, Madam Chair. That is the largest part po of our infrastructure capital outlay. Again, for which in the last 3 decades, we've only averaged at below 2% in investing.
Okay, so in transport po, sino po ba yung priority natin sa transportation?
Madam Chair, the priority is always the commuting public po, our commuters, the public po.
Okay. So tama ka, Yusek, no? Tama. Dapat yung ating priority sa project natin ay to move people. Okay? At i-move natin yung mga kinakailangan ng mga tao. So dapat ang ating binabudgetan ay yung mga programs and project to move people. Kaya lang talagang may transport crisis tayo in terms of public transportation. At kagaya ng sinabi ni Kong Raul Manuel kanina, mas tayo, moving cars, not moving people. Kasi yung mass transportation, we lack mass transportation. Okay, so yun po. So to fix our public transport crisis, i-prioritize sana natin yung investment sa pedestrian, yung cycling, road-based public transportation. So yun ang mahalaga. Kaya lang dun sa pagbabudget natin, bumaba yung budget natin para dito. So anong comment po ng DOTr, Madam Chair?
Madam Chair, first of all po, we would like to note that yung budget po ng DOTr very strongly shows preference for mass public transport. As we can see po doon sa budget natin sa rail. So rail po is the highest capacity form of mass public transport, and again it shows our commitment po to public transport. But not everyone will travel by rail. Meron pong ilan, meron pong madami na magta-travel din po gamit halimbawa ng bisikleta, gamit po yung paglalakad. That is why po in the last few years, nagkaroon po ng yung tinatawag po nating active transport na budget sa budget po ng DOTr, at ito po ay nagpapakita ng ng priority, ng growing priority po ng DOTr dito po sa mode of transport na ito. Admittedly po and unfortunately, bumaba po ang ating budget for active transport from 700 to 500 million. 700 million po last year to 500 million this year. We would like to note lang po na ang ating budget proposal for active transport ay 1.9 billion po sana. So ang atin pong isinumite na budget proposal for active transport for 2024 ay 1.9 billion. Unfortunately po, due to fiscal space considerations, ito po ay naibaba sa 500 million. But that notwithstanding po, rest assured that the department po will continue to advocate for more support for our active transport and pedestrian and cycling infrastructure.
So ang nag-decide ba nito, DBM? 500 million, Madam Chair?
Your Honor, Madam Chair, that is what was granted to us under the NEP.
Anyway, tatanungin ko na lang yan sa DBM. Next, next topic po yung sa sino po yung nagre-regulate doon sa LRT, MRT?
Yusek Chavez, you are recognized.
Ang nasa katungkulan po at kapangyarihan ng Department of Transportation ang mag-regulate, that's one. And number two, mayroon din pong board ang LRTA, samantalang ang MRT po ay direktang nasa ilalim ng Department of Transportation.
Okay, so DOTr. So meron tayong tinatawag na Rail Regulatory Unit, tama po, di ba?
Opo, meron po tayong Rail Regulatory Unit na nilikha sa ilalim ng bagong administrasyon po para pangasiwaan, pag-aralan, iribisa at magbigay ng pagpapasya sa mga panukalang fare increase ng mga operating lines po natin.
Okay, so kung yung nagde-decide ng fare, yung nagre-regulate at nagko-control ay yung DOTr dun sa mga fare at saka yung ng mga MRT at LRT. Tama po yun. So ibig sabihin, kayo halimbawa magpipetisyon ng pagtataas ng fare sa LRT or MRT, kayo din yun. Yung magde-decide kung magkano ang fare ng LRT, MRT, DOTr din yun. Tama?
Halimbawa ho, ang petisyon ng LRT Line 1, LRMC, ay idinulog sa LRT Authority. Ganon din po ang petisyon ng LRT ay dumaan sa proseso ng pag-aaral kasama ang Commission on Audit in all other government agencies, including the National Economic Development Authority. At pagkatapos ho ng pagsusuri ng LRTA ay dinala po sa Rail Regulatory Unit ng DOTr.
Yes, ang punto ko lang dito, Madam Chair, dapat merong talagang congressional legislation creating a rail regulatory unit. Kasi sila rin yung nagpepetisyon ng pagtaas, sila nag-approve, sila yung nagde-decide ng kung ano, di ba? Kaya Madam Chair, ang inaano ko dito, dapat magkaroon, do you think that is fair? Good suggestion, Madam Chair and Yusek?
Madam Chair, tama ho ang panukalang yon at meron din tayong inisyatiba dyan sa pakikipagtulungan ng ilang miyembro ng Kamara at ng Senado sapagkat kung sa aviation, mayroon tayong Civil Aeronautics Board, kung sa road, mayroon tayong LTFRB, kung sa maritime, mayroon tayong pong marina. Sa amin ho ay nagpapanukala din ho kami at mayroon na po tayong inisyatiba ho dyan at nakikipag-ugnayan na ho kami sa Kongreso para magkaroon ng regulatory body ho para sa riles.
Okay, kasi DOTr din kasi nagde-decide.
Okay. Next, for the majority, we have Honorable Jervil Luistro.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My question is for Yusek Chavez. I just wish to complete the picture about the previous questions on the rail transport program. With the 48.8 billion budget of RTP for 2023, Madam Chair, can they enlighten us on the current accomplishment vis-a-vis the target accomplishment for the said year, Madam Chair?
Yusek Chavez, you are recognized.
Madam Chair, Your Honor, let me begin with the right-of-way, which is central to the issue and the civil works. For N1, this is Malolos to Clark. We already acquired and ready to deliver 97.1% of the right-of-way. Please note that overwhelming majority of the right-of-way of Manila to Malolos is owned by PNR, about 53%, and about more than 22% is owned by other government agencies. And therefore, Manila to Malolos, about 38 kilometers, representing 10 stations, 97% is already acquired. For N2, that is Malolos to Clark, this is about 52 kilometers and about 6 stations. We already acquired 81%, 81.1%. For South Commuter, this is Manila to Calamba. Our performance is only 53%, but let me inform this honorable committee that we have just signed contracts of the civil works for Manila to Malolos this year, and a few during the last year under the Marcos administrations, which means that Manila to Malolos and Malolos to Clark were actually way advanced than the South Commuter po. Mas nauna po ang, if Manila to Malolos is under Pinoy, November 2015, the Malolos to Clark is under President Duterte. All signed contracts under President Duterte, except electromechanical. The South Commuter, all civil works contracts signed under the Marcos administration. The Metro Manila subway po, this is about 33 kilometers and about 9 contract packages. Of the 9 contract packages, there are 7 civil works and 2 electromechanical and rolling stock. Our right-of-way acquisition there is already 45%. But let me inform the committee that we have not yet awarded the civil works contract for 105, 108, and 109. 105 is actually from Kalayaan to Ninoy Aquino International Airport. On the Cavite extension, I'm referring now to Baclaran to Niyog. We already acquired 96%, 96.1%. In fact, the first 5 stations from Baclaran, Redemptorist, Asia World, Ninoy, PITX, and Dr. Santos will be operational September next year. Tatlo na lang po ang inaasikaso ho namin. Yan ay Zapote, Las Piñas, and Bacoor, Cavite. Otherwise, 96% po ng ating right of way. On the South Long Hole, South Long Hole is 5 packages. Package 1 is Calamba to Darag Albay. It's about 368 kilometers and more than 80 kilometers. Darag Albay to Matnog Sursogon, package 2. Package 3 is actually Tiaong going to Batangas Port via San Antonio, Ibaan, going to Batangas Port. Package 4 is from Calamba going back to Sucat, because this is the package 5 is rolling stock. Rolling stock po. Ang nakuha na po natin diyan, again, just like Manila to Malolos and Malolos to Clark, overwhelming majority of the right of way is owned by the PNR. So may advantage po tayo sa implementation ng programang yan. The Subic-Clark Railway, this is between the Subic to Clark, the acquisition of right of way is through BCDA po. But BCDA has reported to us that about 10% have already been acquired. Remember that the Subic to Clark, we don't have a definitive funding for this po. All right, what's the status? The human face of this project is the civil works. So civil works po, Manila to Malolos, we are already at 33%. But that is the entire. If you go to Guiginto, Malolos, and Balagtas is about 88%. Civil works po. Umaandar na po ang escalator. May elevator na din po. Doon ang asikasuhin natin ay civil works na. Otherwise, maganda ho ang ini-expect ko natin dyan. On the north, that is Malolos to Clark, our civil works on varying stages, but the overall for this 52 kilometer from Malolos to Clark is 17%. 17%. On the south commuter ho, bago lang pong kakukontrata, so wala pa ho tayong performance ho dyan. And the MMSP, I'm referring to 4 stations, East Valenzuela, Quirino, Corner Mindanao, Tandang Sora, and North Avenue. That's about 8.1%. For Cavite, civil works, it's 67.1%, and the extension of LRT Line 2, that is from Masinag to Antipolo, it's 100% already operational po. And MRT 3, we are at 73% rehabilitation. Practically all Bagon rolling stock, the 72 have been generally overhauled November of last year. And Common Station, we are at 76%. And MRT 7, the last report given to us by San Miguel Corporations, I'm now referring to North Avenue going to San Jose del Monte, about 10 stations are expected to be operational by 2025. We are now at 62.7%. So civil works right of way, that's the latest po from the rail group.
In other words, Madam Chair, if we will sum up the current accomplishment of the different railway stations, both the civil work and the land acquisition, can we confirm from the DOTr if we are on track with the supposed accomplishment for 2023?
We are on track, and the mandate of the president is full speed ahead. There's no other way but to expedite the project, because there are institutions established already. One, JICA and ADB, they will not allow that their funded projects will be delayed. There are delays definitely on the right of way. We are on track because the mandate of, aside from the partners, these projects are being implemented by world-class contractors and supervised by project group, also a group of Japanese experts. These Japanese experts with 20 to 30 years experience, civil works, engineering, rolling stock, electromechanicals. We are on the right track because the Department of Transportation is continuing enhancing its capacity, training people, engaging experts, local experts, including those during the time of the honor of President GMA. There were several when I was with the LRTA from 2004 to 2010. We sent so many engineers from LRTA to Middle East, to Europe, to North America, and they're coming back, helping us in this project po. So we are on track po.
I remember, Madam Chair, during the last budget hearing, I asked the DOTr, what is the timeline with respect to the completion of this rail transport program? And I yielded an answer 2028. Does the DOTr still confirm this answer?
It varies po. Let me repeat myself po. The Cavite extension. This is from Baclaran to Las Piñas to Niog. This will be completed by September 2024. We expect that this will be operational. We have expected this many times. The MRT7 is expected to be substantially operational by 2025. I am referring to the 10 out of 12 stations hanggang Amparo, Caloocan. This will be completed by 2025, therefore operational. We expect that the substantial stations from except Solis, Tutuban, and Caloocan, we expect that from Valenzuela and 7 other stations going to Malolos, Balagtas, Bukawi, 2M, May Kawayan, Marilao, Giginto, and Bulacan, expected to be completed by 2027. By 2027, but we expect that the electromechanical be completed by 2028. Our target initially is by December 2027 po. Subway, we must be honest with the public and this committee that we cannot commit that the subway will be operational by 2028. Our best scenario for subway from East Valenzuela, Quirino, Tandang Sora, North Avenue, East Avenue, Quezon Avenue, Anonas, by up to Ortigas and Shaw by 2029 po.
Madam Chair, can we just request the DOTr to kindly submit a summary of this accomplishment with probably a perspective of the stations to give an overview of the accomplishments vis-a-vis the target accomplishments of the DOTr for RTP? Madam Chair?
DOTr, please comply with the request of the Honorable Luistro.
We will gladly comply po.
Next to interpolate for the majority is Deputy Majority Leader Jam Baronda. Next is Representative Ernesto Junicio.
Thank you, Madam Chair, colleagues, and the DOTr family, sa ating po former President GMA, Ma'am, good afternoon po. Sa inyo pong lahat, yung concern ko lang po is basically sa aking distrito. I have a lot of questions supposedly regarding the budget, but it was already asked by most of my colleagues. But in the interest of time, ma'am and sirs, yung sa akin lang po, gusto ko lang pong unang malaman, meron po bang proyekto ang DOTr na dadaan o gagawin sa First District of the City of Manila?
Mayroon po.
Mr. Chavez, you're recognized.
Mayroon po sa First District ng Luzon ng Maynila. Ito po yung North-South Commuter Railway Project po, along PNR alignment.
Can I get more information? Saan po ba dadaan ito, sir?
Mula sa Tutuban, dadaan po siya ng Blumentritt, the old PNR alignment po. Kung saan yung existing na PNR alignment, doon po siya dadaan.
So sa may PNR po?
Opo.
Ano po ang tawag sa proyekto ulit na ito, sir?
North-South Commuter Railway Project, mula sa Tutubano, patungo sa Malolos, meron din po tayong Solis going to Calamba.
Thank you, sir. Sir, just for the record, this humble representation is really for development and for progress. So sa akin lang po, sir, meron pa ba bang ibang proyekto bukod po doon sa minention niya, sir?
Sa ngayon po, yun po ang rail project po. Yun po ang proyekto po natin, yung Manila to Malolos at yung Manila to Calamba. Maybe other road and other projects. So dito po nakakonsentrate ang DOTr sa dalawang malaking project po na ito.
Madam Chair, meron po kasi kaming nababalitaan. That's why tinatanong ko po, wala pong certainty na meron pong dadaan sa Road 10 sa First District of the City of Manila na proyekto ang DOTr. Madam Chair, just like to have more information on clarification because the sample representation has not been given any information with regards to any project that will be done in our district, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair, if I may.
Yes. May you state your name, ma'am, so I can
Assistant
recognize.
Secretary Georgette Aquino po, for real.
Assistant Secretary Aquino, you are recognized.
Thank you po. This po is the LRT Line 2 West extension. This is actually the extension of the existing line from Antipolo all the way to Recto. There will be 3 stations, which is Tutuban Station, Divisoria Station, and Pier 4 Station po, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair, am I correct that this is a different project from what the other representative from DOTr has mentioned?
Yes po, yes po. Yung NSCR, but I'm not too sure if ito po ay proyekto sa ilalim ng Philippine National Railway. Yung binanggit ko po ay sa ilalim ng Department of Transportation. Yung extension po ng Line 2 is LRTA po. LRTA, 30 istasyon ang madadagdugtong. From DOC Station, pupunta ko tayo ng Divisoria, Tutuban at Pier 4. Ito po yung west extension ng LRTA po. The same po, LRTA project.
Yes po, it's LRTA project also under funding under DOTr.
For the record, ito po yung ginagawa nito, yung dadaan sa Arten is a project by DOTr. Am I correct, Madam Chair?
If it is about rail, yes, it is po. There's another project din po sa dadaan ng Arten, but that is something to do with the Toll Regulatory Board po.
Yung katanungan ko lang po, meron po bang mga tatamaan na residente dun sa proyekto na to?
Dito po sa right of way po ng D. Jose, papunta po ng Pier 4 ay may mga tatamaan pong residente.
The reason for the question of this humble representation, Madam Chair, it is of concerning doon po sa amin sa District 1 ng lungsod ng Maynila. Na ang representante po of the people of Tondo, wala po akong idea doon sa gagawing proyekto. It is for the record that I am being asked by numerous people, Manileños at mga tao po dito sa Tondo, na hindi po namin malaman kung ano isasagot sa kanila. For the record, nagkaroon po tayo ng hearing sa Committee on Ways and Means and I already approached one representative of DOTr. And I was humbly asking for an audience or any information of any project po for the first district of the city of Manila na nakakahiya naman po na wala po ako maisagot sa mga residente doon. The only reason, ang akin lang pong concern, gusto ko pong maprotektahan ang interes ng mga residente sa aming distrito. Hindi po ako nakakasiguro kung tatamaan yung tinatawag naming sleep zero, kung saan marami pong maapektuhang mga residente sa Tondo. Sana po, Ma'am Source, mabigyan po ako ng panahon at impormasyon para po mabigyan naman namin ng proteksyon yung nararapat lamang doon sa mga residente ng Tondo.
Mr. Clantoc, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, what we have for 2024, not this year, but 2024, we will have a bike lane with 19 kilometers both ways, passing through Tondo. So we will be coordinating with your office po so that we can give you the information on the details. Okay po. Thank you po.
Yes, ma'am. Madam Chair, yun lang po yung aking saloobin eh. Kasi nangyari na po doon sa Committee on Ways and Means na ninilapitan na po akong representative from DOTr. Our queries, ang aming mga katanungan, o yung simpleng pag-abot ko po sa DOTr fell on deaf ears. Kami po umaabot at nakikiusap at nakikisuyo dahil bilang representante po ng taong bayan ng Tondo, obligasyon ko po na pangalagaan ang kanilang pangangailangan, lalong-lalo na po ang basic needs na tirahan ng mga tao sa Tondo. Alam naman po natin na mahihirap na po ang tao dyan, ngayon aalisan pa po natin sila ng kanilang tahanan. Pero ganun pa man, gaya ng nasabi ko po, I am for improvement and development, but not at the expense of the rights of the people of Tondo, Madam Chair. On the last note, do we have, ma'am, sana lang po ang hiling ko po, bigyan po ng panahon ang representanting ito at wag po sanang, to fall on deaf ears again. Isang taon na po akong lumalapit at hanggang ngayon wala pa po ako nakukuha ang kasagutan. Maraming salamat po, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair, una ay kinikilala namin na kami ay may obligasyon na mag-reach out sa mga kinatawan. Ang totoo po niyan, bago ang proyektong ito ay series of meetings po sa local interagency committee, but kinikilala po namin na in fact sa lalong madaling po we can do a briefing and we can go with you. Ang ginagawa po ng local interagency committee, lungsod ng Maynila, mga kapitan ay involved po sa prosesong ho ito. Series of meetings po yan, pero palagay ko mayroon din po talagang pagkukulang na hindi po kayo na-inform at salamat po sa pag-inform mo sa amin at obligasyon ko po yan at kami na po ang may sa amin na po yung pananagutan para mag-reach out po sa inyo. Salamat po.
Maraming salamat po, sir. Gaya na nabanggit niyo, mayroon na pong mga naunang pag-uusap regarding the local government at mga lokal na namumuno. But it is just for the record na I want to say na this humble representation, Congressman of the First District of Manila was never, ever communicated of any project, sir, as of now. Kaya po, sir, I highly respect the DOTr family. I support your budget 100%. Sana po bigyan niyo lang kami ng kaunting oras at panahon para po sa aming duties at trabaho na maprotektahan ang taong bayan ng Tondo. Maraming salamat po.
Madam Chair, we will gladly comply immediately po. We will reach out to the office of the Congressman. Salamat po.
Okay, thank you.
The chair recognizes our Deputy Majority Leader, Francis Pumaren.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon, DOTr family. I have a question for you, Cesar Chavez, because I know for a fact that he's the one in charge of subway. Siguro ang question ko lang is, kamusta ang status ng subway natin?
Ang inaasahan ho natin na isa sa unang matatapos, isa ho sa inaasahan ho natin na unang matatapos na stasyon ng subway ay nasa distrito ho ninyo, nasa loob ng Campo Aguinaldo. As I reported earlier in this committee, about 45% ng right-of-way ng Metro Manila subway from East Valenzuela to Ninoy Aquino International Airport is owned by the government at maswerte ho ang package 103 Anonas to Campo Aguinaldo ng isang istasyon ay nasa loob ng Campo Aguinaldo. Ina-expect po natin na ang tunnel boring machine ay darating na next year at magsisimula na ang tunneling. Sa ngayon ho, ang ginagawa ay diaphragm wall para kung saan ibababa ang tunnel boring machine po.
So in essence, Mr. Chairman, in essence, USEC, right on schedule pa rin tayo in terms of yung execution natin sa subway.
I must be honest, we must be honest, Mr. Chair, there is a delay because while many land belongs to government, there are some issues also facing by the DOTr with other government agencies. Pricing, redesign, request for change of the design from Department of Defense to Veterans Golf Club and Camp Aguinaldo and others. So we're facing delays. Pero otherwise, ang aming deklarasyon po, ang ina-expect po namin na substantially completed ay from Valenzuela, East Valenzuela, Quirino, Tandang Sora, North Avenue, very advanced ang North Avenue. Nagsisimula na po tayo sa Quezon Avenue. Magsisimula na rin ho tayo sa East Avenue. You're aware of what's happening in Anonas. Counting issue na lang ho kami sa right of way. We're facing some delays with 104. Otherwise, nagsisimula na yung ating dulo ng 104, that is Shaw Boulevard, panulukan ng Meralco, at ongoing no ang relocations. Sa area po ninyo, Yun po ang ine-expect namin na pinaka-advance na matatapos pagdating sa estasyon. Camp Aguinaldo Station po.
Anyway, excuse me. Yusek, yung sa ano na sa station natin, okay na ba yung right of way natin doon?
Isa na lang po ang dalawa na lang po ang hinihintay ho namin doon, dalawang malaking parcel of land, at ang solusyon ho namin ay right of way usage agreement. Context ho. Bagamat it appears na pwedeng ang trabaho ho namin ay magdesisyon, no? Kung minsan ay nagkakaroon din ng dynamics at pagbabago sa partners, no? Kung dati ay pwede nang bilhin, nagbabago din ho ang property owner about the design. So hindi naman po kami pwedeng mag-impose kaagad doon. Pero nakikita na ho namin yung mga presyo ho na ipapaliwanag ho namin. We cannot go beyond what is the appraised value by the land bank. Sila ho ang naatasan dito. Ang tingin ho namin ay nagsimula na ang commencement noong May po, at ang tingin ho namin ay by February simula na ho ang construction natin. Sa ngayon ho, yung mga utilities nagsisimula na rin po tayo ng relocation. So remember, right of way is not only about ISF relocation of utilities but also acquisition of private lands po.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Yusek. No, if I can remember vividly, no, siguro it was maybe my recommendation also, hindi naman sa nagano, no. Yung unang initial talk natin nung last year, based on the right of way, medyo tatamaan yung residential ng White Plains. Tama po ba yun? Then sinuggest ko as much as possible, iusog na lang natin sa kalye. Tama po ba yun?
Tama po yan, at maraming salamat ho sapagkat yung right of way natin from Camp Aguinaldo
Yes,
ay
residential.
doon
Yes,
ho rin sa rekomendasyon ho ninyo, nasa ilalim ng
kalye na lang.
kalsada.
Okay. I'm saying that, of course, Mr. Chairman, just to commend the USEC, as we all know, yung constant dialogue namin with the DOTr, at he knows very well na kung ano yung pulso ng distrito ko eh. Initial was the White Plains na residente. Kinausap po si USEC kung pwedeng usog, na usog po sa kalye. Then second, yung sa Corinthian Garden, Corinthian Hills, from Masay has 140 plus ata o 160. Di ba, pinakiusapan ko rin na kung pwedeng matrim down. Naging 70. At ngayon po, ilan na lang po ang medyo maapektuhan?
About 46 households.
46 na lang po. So, right on target po tayo dyan. No? Of course, thank you very much, USEC, for listening to the district representative na kung ano po yung mapapabilis po ang proseso natin, because I'm so proud of this project because this is a landmark project and it will pass through my district and the city of Quezon City. Thank you very much, USEC. No?
Salamat, Chair.
May we go to MRT 7? Has the DOTr found a new alignment for the highway that needs to be constructed as part of the concession?
MRT?
Mr. Chair. if
Yeah,
I-
you're recognized. Jorlet Aquino.
The alignment po of the road is still the same as the original.
If that is so, what will be the output and what is the timeline for this?
Completion po, target completion is 2027. As of now po, the progress is at 0.18%, which is on right of way. We have issued offers to buy to 14 landowners, and the total would be 1,083.
Thank you. In January of this year, the Supreme Court decided in favor of DOTr on the issue of non-rail activities on the line against MRTDC. Now, how much does MRTDC owe the government as of today?
Anyone from DOTr?
Siyang
Okay, Asik Aquino.
Mr. Chair, if I may, As of August 23, 2023, MRTDC owes DOTr on the principal amount 2.3 billion, and on the interest is 3 billion, amounting to a total of 5.3 billion po, Mr. Chair.
And what do you intend to do with this?
On that matter, may I turn over po to our USEC for legal?
With the permission of the chair, may I respond?
Yes, Yusek Yebra.
Sir, bali po, to answer the question, MRT DevCo offered to pay the entire balance of their developmental rights payment to DOTr. So there was an offer there was a payment structure, and as provided in our government regulations, we submitted this proposal to the OSG for their clearance. As of today, we were informed by OSG that they will give their advice within the week on whether we can proceed with the proposal to pay fully the unpaid developmental rights payment, Mr. Chair.
Yeah. And kung hindi na po sila dapat mag-operate yung MRTDC, bakit nandun pa rin yung mga advertisement even on the parapet walls in front of the DOTr offices on Primex Tower? Hindi po ba dapat wala na itong mga ito technically?
Anyone from DOTr?
Mr. Chair.
Yeah, Secretary.
Way back in May this year, the MRT3 sent letter to MRTDC asking them to dismantle all advertisements and all its complements in the stations and along the guideway, as well as to dismantle all stalls inside the stations, given the current Supreme Court ruling and given that we are awaiting OSG opinion. However, we received a reply from MRTDC, wherein they stated that we do not have the authority to ask them to dismantle all their advertising paraphernalias and all the stalls in the stations, since we are only authorized to give work permits for them to enter the stations should they have activities relative to the same.
Mr. Chairman, for my last question, it would pertain to the budget. The NEP for DOTr for 2023 was 143.9 billion. Tama po ba?
Anyone? Yusek Kim, you're
Mr.
recognized.
Chairman, Your Honor, just to clarify from the good congressman, net level for 2023, Your Honor.
NEP.
Yes, Your Honor, we confirmed the net level for 2023.
Yes. Naging doon sa GAB2, which was a product of the deliberation of the House of Representatives, it was pruned down to 99.47 billion. Tama po ba?
We confirm, Your Honor, the reduction under GAB2, Your Honor.
And then after the bicameral conference of the House and the Senate, it was further pruned down to 79.33 billion. Would that be correct?
Yes, that is correct, Your Honor.
Pwede po ba kayong matanong na saan po napunta yung more or less 70 billion?
Your Honor, Mr. Chairman, the 70 billion that was provided for the DOTr for 2023 GAA went mostly to our railway projects, of which 25 billion for the North-South Commuter Railway.
No. Yusek, with your indulgence, Mr. Chair. Kung titingnan po natin yung inyong net amount is 143.9 billion. Pero doon sa GAA of 2023, it was pruned down to 79.3 billion. Now, if we subtract 143 from 79.3 from 143, it would give you more or less 70 billion na nawala po sa inyo. Di po ba?
Yes, Your Honor.
Saan po kayo napunta yun?
We are no longer aware of the location of those funds, Your Honor.
Siguro yung COMSEC natin na nagkukuhan ng budget natin alam kung saan nila dinala ito. Di po ba?
Baka napunta raw saan program, Chairman.
Ha?
Baka daw napunta saan program, Mr. Chairman.
Sabi ni Congressman Marcoleta, napunta raw sa Department of Public Works and Highways. That would be all, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, Representative Acop.